Christopher, welcome to my podcast. Your next promotion from invisible to influential. The more you influence others through service, the more you illuminate your value. And I know today my audience will benefit from over 30 years of service in public service, in the Army, and in other leadership roles. Christopher, before we start, why don't you tell us more about you?
Well, I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee, and I originally joined the Army back in 1981 before most of the audience was even born. So, but I joined, and it was primarily out of a dare because, I didn't get a chance to go to college where I wanted to go to. I was going to go to Princeton University, but my parents were real religious, and I went down the street to a party, and I came back smelling like liquor. And my sister and them told my mother that I shouldn't go off to college. And so out of a dare, I said I was going to join the military. And what turned into a dare became a destiny for me, because 33 years later, what I didn't even know what I was getting into. Number one, I just did it because, it was something that I wanted to get away from home and see the world and get a chance to spread my wings and to develop into my authentic self, if that's what I would really want to say. And that's the essence behind why I joined the military. And that journey allowed me to acquire college educations, go to some of the best schools I could go to in the country, to travel the world over, and to experience the dynamics of being my brother's keeper, because I believe in the law of helping others, because you're going to reap dividends in the long term. When you help other people elevate themselves, you in turn will be blessed as well. And so I really feel like that's the essence of what I was trying to do. And I started being just all over the world, living in Panama, and then from Panama back to Tennessee to go to college, and then from Tennessee to Korea, and from Korea, to other parts of the world, including Afghanistan, Iraq, and El Salvador, and Puerto Rico, and Kuwait, and and just a whole bunch of other places that I really didn't want to go to, but I did it because I've always felt like public service is a privilege. It's not necessarily a job to me, but it's a calling. And it's being able to, because this theme has always been centered to me, and that's being my brother's keeper and trying to make this world a better place. If I can only help one somebody, then I feel like that my living wasn't in vain. And so if I can uplift the human potential, it doesn't matter where it's in Africa or Asia or here in the United States. If I can help one somebody, then I feel like that it was worth it all. And if I can make someone see the best version of themselves, that's what I really am all about. And that's what really kind of piqued me to you, is I looked at the 7 layers of your leadership process, and it's so familiar to me, because it's all about helping that person see themselves. Who I am now is better than who I was, because of the teachings and the lessons learned that allow me to leverage some of the principles that you articulate into making myself being more marketable, more focused, more able to achieve goals that normally I didn't think I would be able to achieve. And that's what really stuck with me about your program. And then to get an opportunity to have this fellowship with you today, it's worth everything, because sharp minds sharpen each other. And I really marvel at your beginnings, that you were from Kenya, and how you elevated yourself. And that really stuck with me, because for me, life wasn't a crystal stairway either, but I had to go through and do what I had to do to get to the level that I am now. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. And just being able to see someone else uh, showing the way that you don't have to necessarily be in the entertainment or to be an athlete or whatever to succeed, that you can succeed with the God-given ability that you have within you.
Thank you. Thank you for that inspiring message. I think anybody watching today and they're feeling like they don't want to go, they want to go left, and God wants them to go left, and they're trying to resist. From what you are saying, you went to countries, to places where you did not feel like you should be or you needed to go, but you went anyway. Almost the escape from home led you to this mission of yours, which is your brother's keeper.
That's
And
correct.
and also how you ended up through that journey, you ended up finding out that public service is a privilege. And I like how you connected your story and my story and how you are trying to empower others to be the best version of themselves, just like how I'm doing it. And you mentioned the 7 pillars of 7 leadership mastery. So the first one is self-discovery.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is vision. The third one is strategy.
Mm-hmm.
The fourth one is reputation. The fifth one is empowerment. The sixth one is influence. And I realized that you can't just have all those without thinking of legacy. And so I
Mm-hmm.
added the seventh one, which is legacy. What else are we supposed to do when we're still alive if we don't create something that will live long way after we are gone? So I like your message. Can you tell me more about your brother's keeper message that you have?
Well, the philosophy is that if I can uplift the human potential that is around me, then the world going to be better in itself. We can't just leave things up to government or a particular political party or some other religious leader or something to make better versions of us. We have to be able to take the responsibility ourselves. And some people, God just blessed with gifts where they have the ability to utilize them, and other people can see their strengths and their inner strength and want to gravitate toward them. And it's up to you to share that with other folks. Share your gift. Don't just, um, be me, myself, and I, and be wonderful with that, but help other people be all that they can be, that they can live and do what they want to do, have what they want to have, and become whatever they would like to become. And you had a part in it. That makes it all worthwhile, because the journey should never be a journey of loneliness. It's
Yeah.
always should be together. And together we
Mhm.
can make a change and find a way to yesterday's hopes, tomorrow's dreams, and today's realities.
Basically, you're talking about having an accountability, somebody in your life who can make you accountable of the things that you have to achieve.
Yeah.
It's very crucial to have someone like that. And you talked about also something about sharing your passion. And if anybody is watching this today, and if there's one thing I can tell you right now that will help you stop hesitating or help you take that action that you need, is this: share your passions without hesitation. Share your passions without hesitation, because passion without purpose is wasted potential. There's a time where the more you share your passion, the more you get closer and closer to your purpose. And
Mm.
if you don't share that, you almost will never find your purpose. And that's what I'm saying. Passion without purpose is wasted potential. So thank you for the great message there, Christopher. And we have a lot of similarities in the message there. So I also share this. This week, I'm doing 7-day devotional challenge for people to achieve their fulfillment. So
Mhm.
through church service. I took some notes this year and I created them into cards. And so I realized that people can go after the success, then that next promotion, that next job, that next role, that next title, that next big house, or people doing them favor when they get the service that they need, but still they will never be fulfilled. They will never feel happy. So I felt like if somebody does this, their level of happiness should increase. And whenever they get it, it actually stays the same or decreases because they go for the next thing. And so I realized that if you want to achieve what it is that you are going after in a sustainable way, people can read Psalm 127, and you'll see that anybody that goes for all these things, I help people to accelerate their career growth in life, in business, and in general, in anything that they want to achieve. But that is not enough until they are grounded in God's design. Is there moments in your life where you felt like you've always achieved something and not satisfied and you kept going for more, and whenever you seek it, you don't get what it is that you're looking for? Is there a moment like that for you?
Well, I think probably during my college days, I think everyone, the purpose of an education to me is to really live the life inside out, because you learn so many theories and different people's perspectives. But the best education is a self-education, where you can learn the skill sets that allow you to achieve more than whatever you thought you could achieve. And for me, going through college and trying to find who I am, rather, should I say, trying to find my purpose. And you hit that earlier, because everybody wants to know what is in it for me, what makes me stand out, and how can I maximize my truest potential. Because you said it best, if you don't have that potential, you just a ship out on life's stormy sea without a sail. You're just drifting further away from the azimuth that God has prepared for you. And what we have to do is to be able to first, know ourselves, and then to seek self-improvement. If you don't know who you are, how can you help somebody else? It's the blind leading the blind. And so for me, college allowed me the opportunity to really, take some of the practical experiences that I had and add an academic slant to them, and really offered me the chance to be everything that I wanted to become. And one thing that really helped me out was coming back to Memphis. And, I don't know if you were familiar with Memphis, but Memphis is a tale of two cities, one black and one white, where you had to deal with this issue of the elephant in the room, which I call race, where you have to, really find out, I know that I'm my brother's keeper, but will my brother allow me to be his keeper? And will my brother allow me the opportunity to practice the God-given gifts that God has equipped me to utilize, to not only help him, but to help myself in the process? And so going through, that period of my life of dealing with a lot of unpleasant things, dealing with, trying to prove my worth and saying that I belong in the picture, and that I wasn't just what we would call an affirmative action child, or DEI, whatever you want to call it, because I don't really believe myself that I want anyone to give me any favors. Anything that I get on life, I want it to be based upon my own performance and my own ability to do the job, and not be someone's preferential treatment. I've never wanted that, because I feel like the God that I serve is bigger than that. He's larger than that. He allows me to exercise my maximum version of myself for the greater good and to help other folks in the process. And for me, college was that experience of me coming out and being able to reach my fullest potential as a person. And it's a continual process. It just didn't stop in the 80s. It
Yeah.
continues to today, because every day that I live, I see something more about myself that I didn't see yesterday. I see how I want to be able to utilize the skills that I have to try to make this world a better place. Because as my mother would tell me in her lifetime, I've lived long enough now, Felix,
Yeah.
where I can say with some authority, I got more days behind me than I do ahead of me. But what I want to do now is to be able to help somebody to become, pay it forward and to help them become better than what they were yesterday. And that's my
Yeah.
whole walk, and this whole, and my purpose of living is, I feel like just going about trying to live as a Christian art and as the master taught. That's the best way I can sum it up.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for that detailed response. And I know the way I framed the question, I wanted to see some level of perseverance and consistency, even when things are not revealing themselves to you yet.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you talk about empowerment, empowering people that look like you, and are they willing to be helped? So, Memphis, I went to Memphis with my wife to celebrate one of our anniversaries. So,
Mm-hmm.
I've gone there, and I did the tour of the city also. So, great place to be. Regarding empowerment, and also you were in the army, so from
Mm-hmm.
college, then you went to the army. Uh, how easy do you find it to empower somebody? You know they need your help, but they will never seek it from you. How do you go about showcasing that I can help you? And there is some interest in it for you to leave a good
Mm-hmm.
legacy, and there is some interest to you to serve these people. So how do you go about empowering people like that?
Well, one thing that I did, and this is just a good method of leadership that I often would do during my time, whether it's now or even when I was in uniform, it is getting to know each person individually, what motivates them and what causes them to rise and shine in the morning. And if you can capitalize off of that particular gift that they have and help
Yeah.
them to develop it, that is the key right there. And showing them the big picture and how they fit in your whole organization, and that they're not just a face in the crowd, but they're a contributor to the greater good of the organization. That's how
Yeah.
I really help people, empower them, because I wanted them to feel like that there was not just a voice crying out in the wilderness, but what they said mattered, and that it can help, uh, you know, us perform to the maximum potential that we could as an outfit, as a business, or whatever the category may be. And so that's what I did. Basically, was getting to know each person as an individual, and then
Yeah.
building them up into being part of the team, and that they have a vested interest in the organizational goals and objectives.
Yeah. I like that response. One thing I like to tell people is that you can complain about the system, you can complain about the environment, you can complain about your friends, or people don't like you, or your boss doesn't like you, or you can complain about toxic culture, or just like the day is not going well.
Mm-hmm.
But all those things, when you try to control them, you almost will never win. And
Mm-hmm.
usually, eventually we come back to ourselves, and what we can control is ourselves. So that's why I focus so much on self leadership mastery. If I can become better in the environment which I am in, that environment will be better. If
Mm-hmm.
I can become better and make myself more happy with life, my day will be better. So that's how I try to explain to people. At first, it looks like maybe I'm pointing at them for as if it's their fault, but That's the foundation. Once you grasp that self-leadership mastery, everything else, I think, becomes easier. And it's the key, it's the key to success. So I want to ask you this question about what was the most unusual job you've ever done?
That's a good question. uh, I would probably say uh, uh, no job really has been really unusual for me. I've often accepted jobs that most people wouldn't take, primarily because, I when I was coming along in the military, I didn't have a role model. Everything that I really learned, it was a process of self-discovery. And what I did a lot of times was uh, look at someone else's resume or their bio, and then I would copy some of the techniques that they use. Whether they held this position, I would go out and try to get a position of that similar nature. And whether they went to this school or something, I would program myself so that I could get an opportunity to go to that school to advance myself. I started off a private and ended up a colonel, and I had no idea what the military was about at all, because really my family was not pro-military, and so it was basically me just learning the journey myself. But I was thankful that I was able to navigate it, and God gave me the discernment to see how I fit in and where could I best utilize my skill sets for the greater good, and that's what I did. And but the jobs that I would say was difficult were the ones that I would being in combat. I think that was the most difficult jobs to have, because a lot of people don't understand. As a soldier, you can practice and train all day long, but until you actually get the opportunity to really experience all the crafts that you learned and get a chance to utilize them in a real world setting, that determines how good you are as an individual and how much you know what you're doing and how comfortable you are with your leadership ability and inspiring others to do their job in a very stressful environment.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned being in combat as a very difficult job, and
Mhm.
I'm assuming you are hinting at the outcome might be unexpected. Something you are walking into a situation where you are prepared, yes, but you don't know what will come. You just have the belief that you will make it and you'll fight tooth and nail until the end. So
That's correct.
yeah, so I see life in the same way. If so, there's some level of preparation in combat. You prepare and prepare mentally, physically, everywhere you prepare. And when you are in this environment, you you are facing unexpected situations and you have to apply whatever the preparation you did. In
Mhm.
life is the same way. That's why I teach what I teach about the
Mhm.
7 pillars of self-leadership and the three-phase journey from clarity to action to impact. That's critical in anyone's career. So let me ask you, if you were to think back, would you live the life you've lived again? And the reason I'm asking that is there's a statistics out there. 90% of 80-year-olds regret the life they have lived. So I want to ask you, would you live the life you've lived again?
Absolutely. Number one, because I wouldn't have never understood the joy of the journey if I didn't have an opportunity to walk the path that God had allowed me to plan myself to go into. Because not only was it eye opening for me, but it was fulfilling because it helped me help to find my purpose in life. And my purpose is being a servant leader. My purpose is being able to just, wanting to build a legacy of paying it forward and not just living for myself. I mean, I can get all the riches I want to, but what good is that going to do me? I've never seen a furniture store follow a hearse to the cemetery, and I never seen a 401k go to the cemetery with
Yeah.
you. And so what I would do is, yeah, I love to live, and I like to do what you say, leave a legacy. But at the same time, I want to live a life that's committed to helping bring out the best versions of my neighbors that I can. Because to me, that's the biggest gift that I can leave is helping somebody make this world a better place, one person at a time. If I had to do it because you want to start off with that one, and then that one will turn into two, and two will turn into three, and so forth. But you just
Mhm.
want to do that because I like often seeing someone that I help, and then 5 years later, seeing them now in a leadership position or doing something positive with their life that I was instrumental in helping them achieve. So that to me means more to me than a lot of resources that I can accumulate over time.
Yeah. So, most people nearing the after retirement or nearing
Mhm.
retirement or nearing the end of their life, they want to do something meaningful. They want to do, or let's say they get terminated, their next role, they will want to have something of meaning, not just another role that gives them money, but
Mhm.
something with purpose. And I think to your point about helping others and being a brother's keeper, one thing that you can do right now is to, if there's somebody watching this podcast today and they want to get into public service,
Mhm.
what will you tell them?
It's an opportunity that's there, and you seek it and get into it. There's a lot of programs out here now that you don't even have to go to school for. You can do it virtual online. There's the New Politics Academy that I'm uh, a facilitator of, and we have trained people to go into public service and to perhaps run for office, if not to support someone by being on their campaign in a management position or in whatever type of leadership role to help them achieve success and hopefully win that office that they're running for. So, my desire is that everyone should want to, public service is not just basically being in the government. Public service is helping your community. Public service is being there for the less fortunate in your areas. It's helping people that are struggling, trying to find their way in life. Public service public service to me is leadership in action. That's the best
Yeah,
way I can say. It's
yeah,
it, and it's not about having a title, because anybody can have a title, but few people really perform the job of that title. And to me, a servant leader is one that sees themselves as that person and also sees the potential in that person and help them elevate themselves to reach their truest God-given performance level that they can.
I like that. Public service is leadership in action. So anybody who is a leader, anybody who is in a seniority role, it's
Mm-hmm.
basically assigned to be a public service. Is there
Yes.
moments, is there moments where you are about to, let's say, give a speech in the public service role, you felt to be silent about some action, or you have hesitated about addressing a certain topic, but eventually you ended up gaining the courage to speak up? Is there a moment like that?
No, I've always been basically a type of person who will confront the elephant in the room, whether it's something that you want to talk about or not. If it's going to help the greater good of the community, let's talk about it. Let's stop trying to push stuff under the rug, and we never progress forward as a community. You got to deal with the good, the bad, and the ugly, and when you learn that, you're really practicing leadership. leadership is not being reluctant. Leadership is really about facing the challenge head on, even when you don't have an umbrella and you're in the midst of the storm and it's lightning and everything is happening around you. You still are going through the storm. Why? Because you've got to get to the other side, and the other side will help someone maybe reach a level of calmness, maybe reach a level of new understanding that they never did, being the best version of themselves. You hear me go back to say that a lot, because I feel like that's what you want that person to do, is to be better today than what they were yesterday. And if you can do that, then you're on the journey of making greatness.
Yeah, thank you there, Christopher. Yeah, Christopher, so what sparked your interest in public service?
Well, I don't know if you've, I know you probably watched television when you were younger, and there was a show on television called Good Times, with JJ and Thelma and Michael and James Evans Jr. and and Florida. And on there, they had this guy named Alderman Davis, and he was like a city councilman, but he was a comical city councilman. And that piqued my interest in wanting to go into public service, even when I was like, I was no older than 9 or 10, but I always knew that there was something that I wanted to do, because I've always found politics exciting. And it was something that I could not run from, because it was like two things that really developed me as a person was ministry and politics, and being able to mash those two together. That really was what really is the essence of me, because I believe in religion and politics, because I will tell anybody that you're going to take you with you in whatever role that you are, and whatever values that you've learned, you're going to utilize those values in whatever position that you are in. And so, you're not going to be able to separate those, regardless to what people tell you there's a separation of church and state. I would say it's not, because you're going to bring your values with you, whatever position you assume in life. And so, but that is what really sparked my interest in public service. And I, ever since I was taking a civics class in elementary school, I've always had been fascinated with government and this thing called leadership, and trying to discern what it was about and how I could fit in it in the long term. And it came full circle when I was in college, because I started off a biomedical major, and then I ended up in political science. So don't ask me how, but then I went in and then I got another bachelor's in professional writing, and then I went on and did my master's degrees and things. But like I told you, all the way through my military service, I always tried to go to different schools to learn a lot of things, to continue, because I'm a lifelong learner. I believe in, always seeking self-improvement and trying to become more informed as I can, and utilize that for the greater good of the society. And so now I teach at the Air Force University in strategy and public affairs. I hadn't stopped working, and I retired from the military in 2017, but I have always maintained some type of affiliation with the military, whether it was as a contractor or as a civilian in uniform working for the government. I've never stopped my affiliation with the military, because that's sort of like a part of my identity now. And I'm able to, help the next generation of leaders, get the skill sets that are necessary to be effective practitioners of national security. And so that's what I'm doing now. And it took me a minute to really find what job I wanted to do, because I thought about working for another, for a company, but I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
It wasn't had nothing to do with money. It was like I just wasn't really feeling like that's what I wanted to do, and I wasn't getting any value out of it. I felt like I'm just making a paycheck. But now I feel like that I'm actually making a difference in the lives of the students that I impact. And now I have an opportunity also to do a lot of writing, as far as helping in my community, because I do a lot of op-eds for my papers, in
Mm.
local papers here in the Memphis area, and that gives me a venue to, be a moral agent of change, if you will, and to get
Yeah.
people to look at things from a different angle than what they were thinking about it. And
Mm.
that I feel like this all helps make me who I am today. And I've never been happier where I am now in my life, than where I am now. Because after I retired, it took me about almost 6 years to figure out what I wanted to do after I
Yeah.
retired, because I was just going through jobs, but I
Yeah.
wasn't really happy. And for the first time in my life, I really feel like I'm doing something that is meaningful, that's worthwhile, and that allows me to pay it forward, to the next generation of leaders.
Yeah. I like what you mentioned there, Christopher. Most people want to find their next real job
Hmm.
tomorrow, and it takes a long time. And actually, the problem I solve in visibility, most
Hmm.
people don't realize it their first year of professional life or their second year of professional life. I think actually, based on my own experience, and when I hear people complain about this, it's around their 8, 10 year time frame when they have worked enough and they have seen enough, and that's when they can tell that that's what I'm feeling, because it's very gradual and it's almost like you don't see it. It's like when you go to the gym and you start lifting and exercising, you don't see the difference until after a few months. That's when you see the first muscle. And then you kept going with the consistency. So for you, 6 years, that's a lot of years to keep seeking. As long as you are consistently intentional and you're seeking that experience
Hmm.
until you finally landed your final experience. Maybe not final, but your next level of happiness experience, which is what you are doing now. And happy to hear that you are happy with that. Um, I want to ask you about the thing that you are teaching now, which is you say that you teach strategy. What
Yes.
what do you want us to know about strategy? Strategy is my third pillar that I teach
Hmm.
people from once they discover themselves and they go through the vision and then execution, scalable execution. Tell me about strategy.
Essentially, a strategy is having that plan, for your life or for your particular endeavor that you're trying to do. And again, that plan is just that, a plan. It has to be, uh, adjustable,
Yeah,
and you've got to be able to look at it and say it's not going as the way I designed it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's wrong. I just got to tweak it to get it to where I need to get to.
yeah,
And that's what, it's having a plan for for the future and how you want to achieve it. And for me now, I'm doing, I'm making just as much money as I was when I was working for someone, working for myself, and being a consultant and doing things. And and I'm living life and enjoying it to the fullest. I'm living it like it's golden, in that
yeah,
sense of the word. And so I'm thankful for God for allowing me to have that opportunity, and also to, be able to, minister to people on, in a religious setting as well, but also being, able to really utilize the skill sets that I have accumulated over the years. And everybody is not as fortunate as I have been able to, said that, after I did 33 years in the military and I finally have found a way I can use something that I feel comfortable with doing and
Mm-hmm.
in a way that's helping people become better than what they were before they took my class. And
Yeah.
and one thing that I really love out of everything is it never fails. Every class that I have students tell me, thank you for being a fantastic instructor and for helping me become, more proficient in my craft. Because to me, that's what it's all about, is being able to see the next light shine in the eye of the student, to have that aha moment, to see something that they didn't see before. And it has nothing to do with color. It has nothing to do with economic background or educational attainment, because I often feel like that you only better than what you want to be. And
Yeah.
you can be whatever you want to be, have whatever you want to have, and do whatever you want to do. And this is my opportunity now. And if God keeps blessing me and allowing me to be here, to start capturing stuff and writing it, and hopefully come up with a book that I want to push forward, and maybe see how it sells. Because a lot of times people don't realize what I do with a lot of my op-eds. I test the waters, because it allows me to see if I'm marketable and if people are interested in what I'm saying. And so that's
Yeah.
why I do a lot of op-eds, to see if somebody would be interested in my words. And that is the essence of why I write a lot of op-eds. It's not that
Yeah.
I'm really trying to to be relevant, but I really want to see if my message is resonating, and that if somebody sees something differently than what they saw before I decided to put pen to paper.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're writing, you're trying to see if there's somebody out there that needs that help. So you keep
Yes.
refining that. Yeah. I like what you talked about strategy, having a plan. And also I
Mm-hmm.
want to add a message for if anybody is watching this right now, I'll say design a step-by-step plan that you can follow,
Yes.
because strategy is not trial and error, but a methodical process you can
That's
follow.
correct.
So I like what you teach, and uh, I I I just see how your student picture you every day as you teach them, as you talk to them, like you're talking to me. I can see that they're learning a lot,
Oh,
and
thank you, thank you.
yeah, so they have a good professor. Are these like graduate students or
Yes,
undergrads or?
graduate students at the master's level. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So, I have this strategy pillar. Actually, I came up with um, 5 A's of strategy,
Mm-hmm.
and you won't believe it, but I grew up with starter in my entire life. In class, when teachers will call me to read, before they call me, I've closed my book. I'm pretending that I can't find the page, or I'm at the back of the class because I don't want to be called to to read or to speak up. And it's interesting how I adapted on a way to deliver the message, even now, for example. So I came up
Mm-hmm.
with these 5 A's of strategy that I think if anybody has a vision or a goal, they can use it every day to audit their steps to make sure that they are going in the right direction of executing their goals. So the first one is assess. Second one is align. Does it align with
Mm-hmm.
your vision or your goals? The third one is you anticipate
Mm-hmm.
risks and opportunities. You talked about going into combat. Even
Mm-hmm.
though you prepared, you have to anticipate that something bad might happen to you. And because of that, you prepare more. And the fourth one is you adapt. Now that you are
Okay.
in the situation, what will you do? Right? And then the fifth one is you amplify. You amplify your voice. Like right now, for you, you've worked your entire life for over 30 years, 30, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
33 years. And
Mm-hmm.
now you are, after 6 years of retirement, you finally found another way to amplify your voice by helping others and being your brother's keeper. In your life as a public service professional and a professor and somebody who has to communicate all the time, all the time. How do you communicate complex ideas or concepts in a simpler way to your audience? Do you have a way that you follow?
A lot of times, I will, it's sort of like, well, like when I do a presentation at church, or am I speaking or giving a message or something, a lot of, it's good to speak, to break down the Hebrew and the Greek, but the average person in your church not going to remember that stuff. So you try to, limit it as much as possible. But you try to at the same time say it in ways that's clear, coherent, consistent, compelling, and allows them to, and it's concise to the point where it allows them to rapidly take it and put it into practice. Because what good is the message if they can't take it and make it portable in their everyday life? So you want to show how it's relevant to them and how they can utilize it to help them be better than what they are now. And that's what I try to do. I try to take the difficult things and make it plain and simple, so that the everyday run the mill person that may not have a degree can understand it and go out and utilize it. That's the essence of what I try to do. It's good, like I said, it's good to use $50 words, but what good is the $50 word if nobody understands what you're saying? So, and that's what I'm trying to do in my writing and everything now.
I like that. And simply the way you convert a complex idea into a much simpler way is to think about, what does the audience really want? What kind of, how does it serve them? And because they know what they need, the message becomes simpler. So I like how you are approaching that. What's one action that you would want anybody listening today to take home with?
You hit the nail on the head when you said the amplification of it. It's going out there to, the scripture tells us faith comes by hearing, and hearing by receiving. So you want people to hear what you're saying and then to receive it, and then rapidly go out there and implement it in a way that's going to be meaningful, realistic, and long-term for the community as a whole. Not so much about self, but it's about being able to see the true essence of helping everyone within the community, because the community, your community is only good as the people who live in it. You don't have to go to another part of town to live. You can beautify the area that you are in right now and make it just as beautiful as the cross town if you want to. It's all a part of your mindset and what you want to achieve in life.
I like that amplification. So what message do you have for the audience?
Right now in America, we are in a crossroads, politically, economically, and also, just spiritually. Politically, we got people in power that may not necessarily look at things for the greater good of society. Economically, we're in a point where people are worried about whether they're going to have a job tomorrow, or if AI is going to take my position, or whatever the case may be. And spiritually, we're at this crossroads of people trying to discover what is it and what's their purpose for existing in life. And what we as leaders have to do, we have to give a sense of reassurance that, yes, it's messy. Yes, it's uncertain. Yes, it is, we're at this point where we're trying to discover what's best for the community, for America. But what I've often discovered is that America always reinvents itself over time. There's always going to be someone that's going to come up with an idea of how we can do something better and more efficient and stuff. So we have to look at it from that standpoint. And the good thing about politics is it can change over time. It doesn't have to stay the same. You can have a new leader with a new idea and a new approach and a new message that can help define the moment of greatness for America. And that's what I like us to focus on is we haven't reached our fullest potential. We still have a long way to go. We still have a lot of obstacles to negotiate. But the joy of the journey is learning to go through adversity and come out better than what you did before you went through that adversity. It's being able to have a lesson learned and then be able to look at it and see how it applies to me and how I can take that message and help other folks see the good in what happened, even in a bad experience. And so that's the takeaway that I always try to achieve.
I feel like you've hit the nail on the head here with regardless of all the uh, instabilities, all the issues going on with job, with layoffs, with politics, with
Mm-hmm.
different messages coming from the top, we shouldn't be distracted to not focus on our purpose or to not finding our passion or to not focusing on that next promotion that we are seeking or to not work on moving from being invisible to influential.
Mm-hmm.
We should keep working on ourselves. And like I mentioned in one of my 5 A's of strategy, we will anticipate and we will
Yes.
adapt. We will adapt. And when the moment is right, we will also amplify, like you mentioned, amplification. So I like your message, and I hope everybody today has enjoyed Christopher. Your insights here were very powerful for me. And I know Christopher is a very patient guy. I
Mm-hmm.
pushed his podcast like 3 times and he
Mm-hmm.
said, "Sure, I'll come next time." So I like that kind of attitude, and I can see how you talk to your students and you teach them, and that's a powerful lessons that they see in you. The things that you don't teach them, they pick up all these other small traits that you're showing every time you teach them. So thank you very much, Christopher, for being on the podcast. Your next promotion from invisible to influential. Thank you,
Well,
Christopher.
I thank you, and I appreciate it. And it's wonderful just having the opportunity to dialogue with you. And I was going to ask you one question real quick because I know you said you have a degree in applied science, and I was just trying to. I know you had the
Yeah,
mechanical engineering. I was just trying to see what the
yeah,
applied science was.
yeah. So I came to US and I went to a college that doesn't have an engineering degree, but
Okay.
what they have is you take the engineering courses, but
Mm-hmm.
eventually you transfer to the other schools. So you transfer, you go there for 3 years. So it's a 3-2 dual engineering program. You
Mm-hmm.
take all the physics, the math classes, then you transfer to the next engineering school. And then once you graduate from the engineering school, you get both degrees. So I
Oh, okay.
got
I got you. I got you.
so I got 2 degrees at the same time when I graduated with a mechanical engineering degree and applied science. So applied science is basically the maths, the science, liberal arts education. So I have a
Okay.
unique educational background there because of that. Most engineers just they don't have the liberal side of it. They have the engineering side only. So I'm fortunate for
Okay.
that.
Cool. Well, thank
Yeah.
you for
I know
illuminating my understanding and stuff. That was great.
yeah, thank you very much, Christopher.